last year for a lot of the plays that honestly deserve some of that recognition. And wanted to show Pays who's boss here, I guess, in this group. Again, winner of this series, this best of 5 Fearless is the leader of group, and we will see them as the first seed. The first pick is the Cassante, which honestly for Allah, right as rain for him. We also have the Jace and the Vi insta-locks by Weibo, who are on the red side.
I want to just very quickly touch on the bans. The Aurora being taken away from Xiaohu, I think, is a really good takeaway, and that Nidalee from Shun is something that maybe we see later on into the series. But we're kind of wrapping through this draft really quickly. Strong top line blinds here in the Jace and the Cassante, and then immediately the combo here for JDG saying, you want to play with Vi? Well, we're going to take this Orianna Nocturne combo and get ready for big ultimate wombos.
Yeah, I mean, though they have to be able to execute that, but there's a reason why a lot of time these picks are taken apart from each other, or we just see them outright banned, because it is a ridiculous combo once you can get it off. The Kaisa does come in, so a ton of follow through here on an engage by Tian on Vi, and I really like that setup for the way that Weibo plays.
For Weibo, I think it plays so well into kind of the modality or the option of being able to switch into 2 different modes. One of them being we can play for this poke style where we're whittling away at our opponents with a Jace and a Kaisa, and then swap immediately into dive mode. We're going in with a killer instincts. We have the cease and desist from Vi. Lots of different targets here, and if we are getting that kind of Bruiser-esque Jace build, as we've been seeing, is kind of moving away from the Winters and getting more into the Black Cleavers and the like. We'll see what that's going to be going in as we get to the back end of our drafts here. Focus on mid lanes here from JDG, as you still need someone that's going to be able to pair up. Maybe they go for something like the Talia for Xiaohu, but could also be our Azir matchup that we've been kind of getting a bit of a taste as we get further into the season.
I was going to say, if Ashe makes it through this draft, that's going to be hilarious, because JDG will just pick that one up all time and just have this incredible combo. Luckily, Weibo, we're reading that. They do ban that away, so double AD focus in Weibo's second phase of bans. We'll see if that mid lane focus continues to be the name of the game for JDG, or if they want to maybe whittle down some of those support picks that I feel like Hung can unlock the team with.
3 AD carry bans and Kaisa as well taken away. Maybe this is just going to be our Jinx game here for Pays, really to kind of open up. Could also be I think a pretty good game to go Ziggs. Pays has been one of our few Ziggs enjoyers very early on into the season, and would definitely help. You can go for something like the Zhonya's very early on to counter someone like Tian.
I am always a big fan of the Ziggs. Almost up there with Jhin. Maybe we'll get that here in Fearless, as I really want to see some of that flexibility. I know the Shochi Bradley minds are thinking we want to see some flexibility in the mid lane, at least somewhere in this best of 5. We'll see what that final lock-in is going to be here for JDG, as we did have the Rakan locked in, saving that counter pick obviously for Weibo, but the Rakan providing a lot of wiggle room for Weibo in their comp.
Has the ability to kind of play, and also a big denial from missing. Again, we are in Fearless, so once a champion is picked, it's no longer available for both teams. Missing one of the best Rakans here in the LPL and in the world in general, so something to kind of look forward to as we go for in this series. And now it's that last pick. What does Xiaohu take in the mid lane? Could be the Jace as a potential flex, but I think you're more than comfortable with that matchup going into Cassante. So kind of pick of the litter. You're looking at this team pretty limited in terms of range, especially with the Xayah now included.
It's so interesting as well, this guy, Xiaohu, obviously now we get to see some of that flexibility here. And Bessa can't still go mid, I'm just saying. But there's some flexibility there. But Xiaohu, I don't know if you got to watch the recent interview documentary with him celebrating his 10 years in the LPL. But, man, people forget this guy's history, man. People forget that he had to build himself up through RNG and a lot of that haymaker day and age, I guess. But it's going to be the Jace locked in for him this time around.
This feels like such a weird matchup to talk about, just when we're looking at our mid laners. I know we set up a lot on looking at Scout versus Xiaohu, but I feel like Scout has always been the Jace player compared to someone like Xiaohu. He has been, I think, more of the mage player, and I think one of our deskers, Bradley, really mentioned it, and I think that was a really great point to pull out, was that Scout has been more opting into the AD mids, and that hasn't been the same for someone like Xiaohu. So to see him here in this series, an important one for them to be able to decide who is going to be our first seed from the group, is something that could really help them going into playoffs. And even just in the series, that could be a curveball.
Yeah, and if you're thinking about that now, the reason why we have to talk about those playoffs is we're right around the corner. I mean, this is the final series in this group. And I think being able to see the way that Group B has panned out has been really fun, but kind of expected. But this is the matchup we've been waiting on in Group B, to finally see the test of take between the two top teams and to see who's going to be looking at that first seed going into the playoffs with the double elim in their eyes.
Wait, you don't? We still got the Ultra Prime OMG game on Wednesday.
For these two teams. For these two
yeah,
teams.
okay. These two teams for sure. It's our last one. And yeah, I think for both of these teams, for JDG, they really, I think, need to prove themselves, which is weird to say. I know we've been kind of teasing it a little bit and touching and I think going around the subject, but their early split to 2025 has not been great. I mean, struggling in a best of 5, going all 5 games versus an OMG roster, and Weibo, who, while I think found some of their footing in Demacia Cup and have really, I think, taken this group really light, will need to, I think, focus in on what they've been able to accomplish specifically around the mid lane.
We're getting into it now as you hear the home crowd in Beijing for JDG get loud, but we also get those gyos going both ways. A matchup many have been waiting for, our match of the week here on the unofficial LPL English, and it's something we've been really looking forward to, especially with the 2-week-long break that we had to take, obviously for good reasons, but now we get back to the League of Legends to the yesterday and today, and hopefully we have more than 3 games tonight.
Ooh, look at Hung. He's in a super flame. He's going
scary.
around, missing as well. I don't know if they'll see Xiaohu when he leaves this brush, if he enters towards the bottom side of the map.
If they get information here on the lane swap, though, it could be actually pretty big.
Hey, no information. So Tian gets an early ward onto enemy Raptors, but aside from that, we're going to have our lane swap here. Not one that I think we're too expecting, but I think they really want to try to cover for someone like Mbessa. She can be very, very volatile in the lane swap until she gets a few levels under her belt.
Yeah, needs a little bit of strength behind it to find that ramping pace. Honestly, though, with Mbessa and Cassante in the game, I don't know if I feel really bad for pace and light. Honestly, a lot of these points in the later part of the game. We'll see how this lane swap ends up working out, though.
Junglers starting on the opposite sides of the map. I wonder if this is going to be a vertical jungle where the entirety of the top side belongs to someone like Weibo. And
got the info.
Yeah, so they know Sun is down here, and so Tian has a couple of options. He can go towards the bottom side of the map and try to cut this Nocturne off. They need this play to work or else it's going to go terrible.
They really do, and this is start off of the combo you really want to see get ahead. Shun maybe getting the kill, couple extra shots for missing. He gets the dredge line right back, and Pays picks up that first blood for JDG.
That turret was starting to ramp up. Let's see if Weibo can make it happen on the top side.
He did get the unstoppable under that grand entrance, though. Hung trying to tank up. They don't have as much damage as JDG did on the bot side, and I don't know if they're going to be able to do this. There's no dredge line to get the rehook here. As he goes through, he gets the flash, a la dashing straight to his death, and Light will pick up that one. Both ADCs off on the mark.
Definitely a lot closer than what we saw in the bottom lane, but I think key difference, Ala had level 2, Breathe didn't. So
True.
All the summoners gone
Massive
from our
difference.
2 top laners, and look at where that gold is going to our 2 AD carries, especially we wanted to see from JDG and from Weibo what these 2 guys were going to do, and kind of different trajectories for both Light and Pays.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like it feels like Light has been working at this for so long. I mean, I remember the glory days of the Miracle Run and everything on LNG, but this last Worlds for Light, I mean, he had some of the best plays of all of Worlds and towards the end, towards the playoffs, and I think it's so cool to see his matchup against Pays now, and both of them getting off to the races a little bit as, speaking of, going right back down. Can't get the Blade Collar in, but it's fine. We do get the redeploy from Weibo out bot.
Pushing out their bottom lane here. I mean, Breathe can very easily catch this wave. By the time it makes it to his turret, with how much mobility someone like the Mbessa has, should be able to get there in time. Tian is also in the area, so after finishing the scuttle, I wonder if there's going to maybe be a look towards topside when Ala tries to crash the wave. That'll be potentially an opening for them. It would mean that they're not able to contest for this dragon in 35 seconds.
Looking at priority in lanes as well. That dragon super important, but just down the way, a minute from that will be the grub spawn as well.
Tian gets spotted there. I wonder how JDG are going to play around this new set of vision. I mean, Shun's already on the top side of the map. He's going to take at least his Gromp, and we'll see what they're able to get done. We have grubs spawning in a minute, and I think that's going to be potentially an objective that we're both looking towards, especially when we're talking about trying to play for long lanes. Someone like Xiaohu, I think, could be really, really dangerous if we're getting some longer side lanes.
And I think another key breaking point, which we'll be getting to very shortly, I'm sure, around the grub fight, is that level 6 mark, because that's where JDG's comp really turns on, but that's also where Tian gets all of the setup he needs for his team, as we do see a little 2v2 kicking off in the bot lane.
Big item wake up for both for Weibo on 2, especially. We're talking about Jace. Once he hits 2 items, Tian even on 1 can be very powerful. So I like what you were pointing out. The level 6s here for JDG are just really, really impactful, especially if they're able to get that onto missing. Having that Nautilus ultimate to really kind of, I think, get around some of the less mobile members of Weibo can definitely open up the fight, as immediately a flash from missing, I think, just means this is an early drag here for Weibo.
That's actually really big. I mean, a flash engage is huge, but a dredge line to the face will do just that anyways, as Pays does get a little bit of damage down. They will clear out some of this vision. Really heavily contesting over bot lane prio around this dragon that spawned. Grubs are coming up now, though, so maybe a little bit split focus.
Looking at mid right now on the minimap, and what I've loved so far from this Weibo squad is one of the big changes when they brought in Tian over Tarzan was just this team felt like there was so much more action in the early game. Xiaohu feels like he's, at least watching the games, feels more bought into what Tian wants to do early on, and we saw right there, as soon as there were any action towards the bottom side of the map, he immediately hovered. There was no mid wave, they already cleared it out, he started moving into Fog of War, and Scout went to go follow. So as long as JDG are able to get 2 objectives first, I do imagine it's going to be pretty difficult for Weibo to find a fight. Shun is nowhere near this. I think this is just a fake contest coming out from JDG.
JDG, we're putting a little bit of pressure onto them as...
Oh, Scout!
He gets knocked away! That's Jace from Arcade right there, but that's a bit unfortunate for Scout. You'll want that one back. And we did get the trade of objectives.
Oh, that one's getting into the replay. Shochi and Bradley,
that was a little rough.
Whip up the clips. We're doing a mid lane review, VOD review.
Trying to decide if he wanted to like flash, or something. I don't know. But hey, they're gonna find another gank. He's got paranoia this time. Xiaohu dodges the dredge line, still gets feared. Shun wants to go in the turret. Paranoia in there, baby. He gets knocked back twice in a row.
No way. No.
What am I watching right now?
Tian has ult.
JDG fall apart. Tian tries to go for the flash play, can't find it on the Scout.
Maybe if he could have used the ult after the flash immediately, then saved the Q, but I mean, look, that's a flash out from Scout. It's a flash out from Shun as well. Our 2 mid-jungle duos now losing a key summoner spell. And how spicy has this game already? We wanted to see early action in the mid lane, and we're getting that. Repeated ganks here by missing, trying to put Xiaohu in an uncomfortable position and get that summoner spell before the fight. But I think really deftly played by the mid lane of Weibo, and then forcing the issue. JDG are just in no position to get into the spot. Between 2 turrets, Shun.
I knew we were going to get the little slight slow-mo zoom in there of that flash as soon as it happened. I'm waiting for it. But a little bit of unfortunate gameplay coming through there for JDG. But hey, the party in the mid lane stays strong. Now Paranoia a little bit off center there, as Shockwave will be coming back up, but that's the combo we have to look for going forward.
Even if they're not able to land the combo, I think just having the Shockwave is definitely, in my opinion, just more important here, especially when we're talking about setting up for fights. We have grubs spawning in 2 minutes, 3 minutes before Dragon. I'm going to be looking at whether or not both of these teams can play around the missing summoner spells, because I think when you have so much lockdown, you have so much crowd control, no longer having the flash is going to be opening up plays around the map. And you look at how many playmakers they have. Missings getting closer to that level 6. You have CC coming in from JDG's AD carry as well. A lot of options here. And we haven't really been talking about our 2 top laners, but those ultimates are going to come up huge when we're looking at
They're both like
fights.
the same thing, too. They're literally like the same animation in some ways. No, it's going to be really impactful, honestly, how they find and execute some of these lower health targets. But Tian is the one that's scary to me. He has so much power on this Vi traditionally as well, but now here in this game, and here we go. Paranoia already popped missing, losing all of his health immediately, and the cease and desist was saved until the last. Blade Caller is massive from Pays. I thought that was a ruler play right there, but he's filling his shoes just well. That's a double kill for Shun.
Wow. Great job from Pays. He saves his ultimate and is waiting on those feathers, gets the reposition, I mean, Weibo, they invested so much for that play, and now we're looking at this. Look at what they were able to trade. Yes, they did die, but now there's no ult, there's no double summoner spells from Pays. This could mean that Weibo are looking to contest that second grub, and that's the feat of strength, I think, more importantly, going over to Weibo as we get into this replay. It's a snap engage from Hung, and then while all of this damage is here, they're trying to get it onto Missing. Look at all these feathers that are about to rip through the back line, and then Shun just gets, I mean, free access, right?
I mean, I can't even count on my hands the amount of times I saw Ruler play a play just like this for JDG over these last 2 years, and Pays fitting the mold just well, able to bait them all in and find a really nice blade call. I'm sure that's going to happen many more times in this game as the comp begs it from Weibo as they're looking for an engage again. Shun going to be the target now. He's a little bit split from the team. He will be able to walk out. Even emotes on him. My God, man.
They've got the shockwave. Oh, Pays, you're just too far
Pays,
up.
Pays, bro,
we said
Pays.
it. No flash, no ultimate. Can they make this play happen? Shun and Missing are backing them up.
Oh my goodness. The aura on Pays here, you know, just step it up right there. No big deal, as we do have the grubs started by JDG. There's the experimental hex plate for Shun. I don't know if they want to contest this one. And that's all 6 grubs given over to JDG.
How much can they actually get with this, though? They have not really been able to hit on very many of these turrets or get a lot of damage, so we'll see if maybe Pays and Missing could look for something. We're talking about big items coming on through. While Shun does have his first, we also have the static shiv completed here for Light, so helping out with some of the wave clear as well as just tickling your opponents. I'm going to be looking, as we get further in this game, not even at this Dragon, but really this Rift Herald spawning in 4 minutes. JDG have been able to kind of play around cooldowns really, really well, which I think has been a criticism for this team in the past so far early on in the season.
I feel like we've seen this story before. There's the Featherstorm Blade Caller combo. He got the paranoia on top of it from Shun just to help him out, and he's the one pressing up now with the aggressive stance. Tian was coming right down the way, but nothing else going to come of it.
That's beautiful. Hung has no ultimate anymore, so that's going to open them up to be able to make some more plays. It lets Pays play a little more. Oh. Breathe,
okay, Ala goes for the flash play, gets Breeze play instead. That will be flash from both top laners down.
I know we also have been avoiding this matchup, but I don't know how you feel about our top laners, but I do think that Ala and Breathe are like LPL big game hunters. Maybe being a little bit more
really
like regular season contenders.
Big buck hunters, like the arcade game.
Yeah, that's true. They've been competent top laners, but when they have really important matches, it's, I think, where they tend to really, really come into their own. And so we'll see what that looks like here in this best of 5 as they're trying so hard to get Pays.
They want him so bad. Cease and desist there. Grand Entrance going to follow. Gets the double knockup. Blade Caller not going to be enough this time, but the shield
Does he live?
is there. Is it enough? The 3-man stud there. Root Ala looking to clean up a little bit. Maybe a bit of revenge for his teammate, but the follow-through might not be there. Unfortunately, Pays does go down like 6 times the charm. I don't know how many times that was, Alk.
Look at what they're losing on the map, though. It was those 6 grubs going over to JDG. It's another turret or another dragon in the bottom lane. JDG are feeling at least a little bit more poised and focused on what we've got.
Shockwave.
Oh, God.
Oh, we got the combo off with that
it.
public execution. There's the shockwave to follow through. Breathe getting low and low. He's going under turret. Now the turret's there to help him. Shun getting low. Now one more shot, but the heal up is there. Xiaohu wants to make the difference. Scout doesn't have much mana. He's going to use the speed up there. Shun might just have to give his life. The fear is not going to be in time, and Xiaohu takes him down.
Shut down as well. Gold going over to Xiaohu. Our 2 mid laners having such an important role. We've talked a lot about it from JDG's perspective, but for someone like Weibo, our deskers were talking about it. The ability to play on the side lane. Jace now. We'll see if Xiaohu can kind of play a little bit more on the edge. I think he's going to have a really tough spot. It's so hard to play these long lanes when there's a Nocturne in the game. So going to need a lot of cover. And Weibo feeling a little bit lost. I think they're kind of really focused on trying to get Pays. And with Pays making it out so many times or wasting a lot of their time in some instances, JDG are playing the map in a really respectful way and being able to still get objectives.
There goes
First turret
that
as well.
top
That's feat
lane
strength.
Turret. Yep, that's huge. JDG finding massive gold advantages early of a very even game as well. We have first items completed. Breeze stops the back of Ala. Honestly, not super confident in taking that fight, even with the health differential, just because of what Cassante can do. And I really love the stop at the back, but we'll see if the reset from Weibo gets them on more even playing field.
My big criticism for JDG the past like 2-3 weeks while we were waiting has just been the fact that this team does not know if they want a team fight or if they want to collect waves on side. There's usually someone picking up gold, picking up resources, but then we're just starting a fight and we're down numbers. We're starting an objective and we don't have everybody in position. Feels like at least in this first game, they have a goal in mind. They're playing within what they're able to do and also able to escape a lot of the plays. Maybe part of the vision that missing is being able to grab for them as Scout has flash, has ultimate.
He's in a lot of trouble. Public execution is there. Paranoia is not going to be enough, even with the attempted shockwave. Shun taking a 1v3 here, but I don't think that's what you want to fight. As another kill goes down to Weibo, that's just unfortunate as Paige tries to catch Light in the transition.
Nope. Flash from Scout here. Will still have the shockwave, but no ultimate. That's probably, like you're saying, the top tier one going down. And we don't know if JDG will be able to really contest for this Herald. I wanted to see them with 6 grubs look for this.
Okay, missing, just getting chunked immediately. Tian just finding constant action here. And a big piece to the puzzle that we were talking about coming into this one is Tian and Xiaohu and their combination. But it's been a very weird game so far. I mean, our first time seeing these teams back from this long break. I feel like breaks have been much to the detriment of some of our top teams in LPL's history. But this was a test of strength. This was, I want to see what you got in your last series here before playoffs.
Got a lot of games, right? Best of 5. We're making a re-engage. Now, Scout can't be here. He's going to move eventually, and he finishes the Seraphs.
Oh, that's a lot of damage from Shun. They go in, though. The Rift Herald already taken by Weibo. Nice little Blade Caller right back to get some damage down. Hung, trying to go over the wall, does end up making it. They do pick off Tian, though, and that was pretty massive. We will get that Rift Herald for Weibo.
Another criticism that I've had towards JDG is Scout feels like a really big coin flip player right now, which sucks to say as a player that has so much tenure and I think has brought so much honor to the LPL with a world championship and his multiple worlds appearances. But in LPL so far this season, it feels like he is really hot and really cold sometimes. I think of the Akali game from Demacia Cup as we get a replay here. This is just Scout getting caught out. Oh, we're getting full on cinematic
skin. You gotta do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Orianna ult doesn't go off here, and if we get a replay of the Herald fight there, he also didn't have the shockwave didn't land. So yeah. I feel like in a matchup where you have to be really in sync with your Nocturne, this is a dangerous spot to be in.
You see that play here, Weibo getting the latter half.
Okay, so it's the flash. Okay.
But you bring that up, but honestly, it's a sad fact to say that was also what was happening on LNG. He played a side lane, try to get as much gold as he possibly could and try to carry the game. And half the time it worked, half the time it didn't. And that's why we saw a little bit of faltering from LNG and why we've seen a little bit of a roster swap in that regard. And I think that it's something that Scout needs to find that consistency again and something you're hoping to see with JDG and Shun at the combo.
Ooh. Xiaohu going for a bit of a different build. I know with our Jaces, we've had Fimba Winter, we had Dying Despair, Black Cleaver has becoming more and more popular, specifically over in the LCK, and now we're getting Spear Shojin first, so getting access to some flat HP, AD, and ability haste, I'll take that. That's perfectly fine, and we'll have what looks to be a Muramana second, so a lot of damage here for this Jason in the next 2 minutes.
Missing, trying to catch Hung there. I will say, Light has forgone boots and gone second item. He already has Static Shift and Guinsoo's. You start watching to see if Light's going to be popping off in some of these fights. At least most items built pied there with Breathe. And we will have that set up with Eragon coming up into the top lane in about a minute. We've seen a lot of teams be very hesitant around that objective.
I'm now going to be looking towards these 2 big items. Like we're talking about Xiaohu getting the Muramana soon. We also have Black Cleaver, what looks to be done soon for Tian. If by the time this Otacon fight starts, and yes, it's spawning in 45, I don't think we're going to be starting it on spawn here. This is still, I think, a big point for Weibo to try to play around. You have 2-item Kai'Sa with Rage Blade. Again, those item completions are going to be really, really important, and I want to see if Weibo are going to be looking for fights during that timer.
And I think with these kinds of comps, like it's really up to Tian or Hung for Weibo to get those engages. is primarily on Shun for the JDG engage. Obviously missing is there as well. Ala and Bree just going to go right back at it. Bree holding up a little bit better this time than he did last time. Ala going for the long flank onto him. Going to use that all out. Has Pays coming up here to help him as well. Public execution going to be used. Pays lays down the damage. Those feathers hurt. Ala gets the kill.
Great job. That Mbessa can go into the skirmishes, but not when you're going to be playing up against 2 players. Suddenly, it's no longer the fair top lane 1v1, and that does buy some time here for JDG. They invest a lot of resources. They're going to start this up with the 2 carries. Scout and teleported for this play.
I mean, they just kind of burn it, no? I mean,
yeah.
They get the TP up there as well. Xiaohu will just take his pity prizes as pings have already come out. A couple turrets will end up falling for Weibo, in favor of them, rather. That Eragon is going to be a massive buff for JDG.
2 turrets, I think a big part of the map. Weibo, surprisingly enough, it feels like history is repeating itself. I think it was in the Ultra Prime game where they gave up the Eragon, but destroyed the map. They had 2 turrets now here for Xiaohu. They got the mid-tier 1. If they can wait out this timer, it's 2:15. If they can, as long as they don't lose the game and try to take a silly fight, I think Weibo come up on this play a lot better than JDG. Oh!
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Look away, we're getting a
Shield
replay
your
from that. It's
eyes.
LPA.
Oh, God.
It's LPL. We're getting a replay of that for sure.
Zoomed in, directed cam. Don't worry. The operators are looking at it right now. They're cutting it to pieces. As right now, we're actually taking a look at Pays cutting the mid lane turret to pieces. Doesn't end up getting it, but JDG are going to strike some revenge gold on the map from these standing objectives. And I think what comes next will be the setup around these 2 item spikes. We're getting very, very close to finishing those out, as we did get that Miramana completed for Xiaohu. Reed actually just got free time on a side turret here.
Sante can move. There's a bit of time. Again, Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. You can't
What is happening on the map right now? Okay.
They were looking to try to maybe look for something on a scout. It's a minute before the Eragon falls, and JDG have not really forced anything yet. I think that they needed to look for something, get a summoner spell, get some ultimates, but that hasn't been the case. They're starting to slowly get back into some of those habits we were criticizing them for. So Weibo now, the only, I think, piece that has kind of helped JDG is the fact that they have the 6 grubs. So despite the fact that Weibo were able to get so many turrets in that play, anytime JDG win a team fight or they get alone time in a side lane, these turrets are going to fold really quickly.
And it's so interesting when we started the conversation looking at these 2 teams as a test of strength, but more so seeing the synergies from Weibo actually having some proficiency. JDG needing to kind of wake up. Well, it's JDG. That nice up the Oriana combo. That feels so bad. But they still get a little bit of pressure on mid lane, I guess. They wanted to try to use these Eragon GAs as best as possible. 20 seconds till it falls, though, and you risk being in a really bad position if they fall in the middle of the fight. That's going to be a Tian flash out, maybe looking for a re-engage. It's coming down in 10 seconds. JDG know that. They go for the fight. Tian goes in. Public execution. They got Tian, though, before he could get him. Now Breathe is in the back line. Xiaohu,
the GAs are down.
The wall. Pays is going down. They're using those GAs. The GAs just fell right as Pays died. As life finally, maybe, no. Ala does Cassante things, and you better go ahead and spam that copy pasta, because he is destroying the back line right now. As Xiaohu's looking for an angle onto Ala, he just skips his way to victory.
That looked a little bit of int, a little bit of pog coming in for Tian. he opens up space for his team, and that's such a tight timing. I want to catch it in the replay. I think this is such a huge fight for them as we look coming in. Dragon, while maybe this can be soul point for Weibo, more importantly for me, if they win another fight, you have the Baron spawning in a minute, and there are so many summoner spells missing. This combo, everybody's been playing it. It's not like this is a new combo. These champions are incredibly old as well. So Scout -1. That's going on the report card. I'm sure that we're going to get a review from Bradley and Shoji.
That was a nice
Tian,
splash.
he just plays with his life. He understands that HP is a resource, and while he goes down, he'll have the respawn timer. Big things for me that I'm looking at are all of these summoner spells and the ultimates that are going to be gone here for JDG.
What a flash by Scout there. I mean, Breeze still finds access to backline. You can see what this Mbessa can do. And this is so funny because we've reached a precipice where these clips are literally just turning into what Ala can do against an entire enemy team. and what Breathe can do against an entire enemy team. That's what it's going to be for the future of this game.
Oh my god. I feel like we talked about our top laners just a little bit. They have that kidnap ability with the ultimates coming in. Breathe has direct backline access. Same thing with someone like Cassante.
It's I hate being an ADC in 2025.
They're
I hate
level
it.
6. I will say, Breathe is a little closer to level 16, so the amount of healing that is going to be accessible to this champion is going to get very obnoxious very quickly. So we've got Baron spawning. During that replay during live, that was the Dragon going over to Weibo, so they're now on Soul Point.
And Soul Point on this kind of comp with these ultimates feels real good. Also, third item for Light. That's Nasher Tooth. He also went with the Sork Boots. So we're going to have a little bit more magic damage into that comp and into that pick as we see JDG forming up around the Baron pit here, trying to get some vision down.
It's tough. We wanted to see coming in from draft whether or not Weibo were going to be able to play the tale of two styles of trying to poke, but it seems like they just want to all in on this dive strategy. First target they find, who they're able to engage upon. We have so many different pieces of crowd control coming in. Tian being a bit cheeky and seeing some Raptors on a tight timer there. But it's going to be all eyes on the top side of the map. Where can Weibo get vision, and how are JDG going to be able to walk in blind when they're really just trying to contest on mid-waves?
Yeah, I mean, there were pings onto the Baron from Weibo. Don't expect that to be started up, but maybe with the transition of map power coming through here at JDG, need to be wary of that. As Pace still needing to hit that third item. Will be a pretty massive spike for the Xayah, but we'll be getting close to that for many carries throughout. Although already Weibo in a bit of an advantage in that case. JDG are going with the same plan. We've seen them execute twice in a row now. Pace will be on vision right now, but JDG were looking for a pick anywhere they can.
Player gold. Sucks to see this Shun and Scout duo pretty similar to each other, but you really wanted to see a little bit more damage here from these two, and we haven't kind of gotten that 2v2 combo from our Nocturne and Orianna. So if JDG want a chance at being able to win this game, they need to be able to get this combo down in under wraps. Otherwise, Weibo can make this game very difficult, and anytime you get away from an objective,
all it takes is one.
Yeah.
All it takes is one. Like, you just, that's why this combo is so potent and why we see it so rampantly, is because you just get one big Paranoia Shockwave combo, and that's it. JDG has their finger on the trigger. If they win a fight, they go for Baron. We see massive pushes. Can be the same way for the other side of things for Weibo. We have those 3 items complete for majority here, but really looking at the pop-off from Xiaohu and Light in a lot of these fights, but honestly, some of that spotlight had been transitioning to those top laners. Do we still feel like that's the case?
They're just so tanky, and I will say Paze, I think, has a bit of a tougher time with being able to deal
GA third, by the way.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's
That's
like, guys, I got scammed on the Otacon. Fair. Look at who is on the enemy team, right? Aside from someone like a Kaisa, this is going to be full armor that you're going to be going into. I think this is an okay buy from him. You definitely know that you're going to need to have some survivability, and while you're not a Ziggs who can itemize into Zonias, or maybe a Kaisa in this instance, I think it's going to have to make do for JDG, as they find themselves not really, you look at the gold, it is so even between these two, but
for this
big
lane,
things for me is going to be the item differential, especially in mid lane.
I know, it's crazy how far Scout is behind in terms of his item completions. I do like that heads up, though, in terms of, like, all Tian has to do is land one cease and desist and everybody come piling in on top of you. So Paze is like, no, I just won't. I'll counteract that in some way. Dragon is coming up in 30 seconds. It is Soul for Weibo, and they find Shun. Breathe, getting a lot of damage there, but a little bit scared of the fear. Goes with the public execution. Shun has no way out. Shun popped Paranoia, but he's already dead. Blackout City for JDG, and Allah can't find the reprisal. Now you're looking over onto Hung, who found backline access, but Allah is now the front line trying to save space for JDG. They won't lose much, but they're jungler, but it's right before the Dragon.
Beautiful pick coming in from Breathe. Knows that he has the dueling potential as well. I mean, you're just playing an Ambessa into Nocturne. There's very few things that champion is able to do. So Shun dying before this, opens up Weibo to grab that
Oh,
soul.
they're
Maybe
getting
they go for Baron,
piled
looking for Scout.
Scout gets hit on the other side. Here
Oh!
comes the flying trapeze from Weibo, and it's looking like the Cirque du Soleil here. Breathe going ham on these people as Allah does end up getting it all out to get under turret, but Weibo are constantly finding picks. That synergy we talked about, it's online, baby.
This game has been so close, feels back and forth. JDG with some strong early gameplay, and I think really playing to the map early on, loses their way, and now 30 minutes, we've got the start on the Baron. Shun can jump into this pit with the ultimate. It is coming off of cooldown. 4,000 on the Baron.
Oh, they just go for the fight. Missing, Kit's completely caught. He goes in, though. Shun finds one, pays. Kiting to hell here. He still has the GA.
No!
Gets it popped. Cease and assist on the Shun. And Weibo are winning this one all day long. Pays. Poor Pays. He's getting ganked on here. Gets a big blade collar. Gets Tian back. But it's Jungler's down. JDG is down. No Baron for Weibo, but what a fight.
They needed to send it, and unfortunately, JDG not in a position, maybe miscoordinate the fight. I mean, good job for JDG. You stopped them from doing Baron, but I think the game's looking toast. You still have the combo, but that gold lead is starting to climb for some of our solo laners here on Weibo.
He's still not on 3 items. I'm sure he has it now when he backs, but still, the fact that he still is not on 3 items is insane. And we're going to take a look back at that fight, the initial pick that made the Dragon Soul happen for Weibo.
And look at what Weibo are doing at the same time. They know that with Breathe sitting in Fog of War, hey, he doesn't have the spell shield. Breathe finds this pick, and they're playing really far up on mid lane. So I really love to see that coming out. And look at where Shun is. Shun, I think, either has to just send it on the ultimate and we just get into the pit, but the fight is split. Look at where Pays is missing, gets completely annihilated. And Allah's nowhere near this. He has to push the mid wave. This was one of the criticisms we had for this team, which is they're not all on the same page. We're clearing mid wave, and then we're contesting for Baron at the same time.
It's a lot of the individuality that we've seen from JDG that has made those moments so bright, but it's Weibo that find those synergistic moments in the later game team fights that have really been the way that Weibo have handled their series. And it's nice to see a continuation of some of that storyline for Weibo, who, yes, it might not be much of a gold lead, but feel absolutely in the driver's seat here over JDG.
I'm sorry, shiny graphic just showed up on my screen. 32% of your team's damage as
That's
Mbessa.
insane, dude.
Breathe.
That's insane.
I was unfamiliar with your game. We've got a contest around this Baron. It feels like JDG need to be able to make this work, but they have control of mid first. And with these 6 grubs, I think maybe you're looking to take a trade. Top tier 2 for mid tier 2.
God, this champion, man. It could do everything if you just press the buttons right as JDG forced to contest, forced to go in. They do find the access, and they get hung. They finally hit the Shockwave Paranoia combo, and now they're looking at mid lane.
They know that there's no Shun ult, so why not go through mid? I think Pays and Missing can spend a little bit more time. Allah.
Oh, Allah just walked into the wrong side of the neighborhood. He tries to go for the blast cone, does not make it. The Void Seeker hits him from afar, and Light is looking to pop off now. He goes in here with that killer, as now they go golden. Pays is on the wrong side of the fight. Scout's by himself now. Shun tries to go in to save him. They can't do anything. They're being picked apart as JDG are losing bodies left and right. Weibo have came to play. They were asking if they would oil up, and dang, they are slippery.
I can't believe we're getting Weibo social media tied up on the show here. First, it was the unzips pants. We're going to have intense activities with JDG on the 9th. And then I get that ad oil. Well, I think that's probably just game.
That's
Death timers are
game.
too long. Weibo make it happen here in game 1.
All I'm saying is Pays and Light are sitting there thanking their lucky stars. They do not have to deal with Mbessa or Cassante ever again in this series as Weibo take game number 1.
Us as fans don't have
Also
to watch Scout
happy.
Oriana for game 1 after this one.
no.
So that was an unfortunate performance, but
Yeah.
he is the key mid laner and someone that we set up as needing to have these carry performances. We've seen the high highs of someone like Scout, and especially in regular season games, I get it. Maybe you're not going to be. I think you're definitely still looking at being a top 2 team here in the group. You're going to make playoffs regardless, but missing out on double elim is, I think, a really big portion of this game.
I just think it's so wild to me to look back at Scout's career and watch him take double season MVPs in a single year and then go from that LNG stint to now having some troubles getting used to this JDG style. And it's tough to watch as a big Scout fan, but we got to see a pickup in this series. First seed matters so much in this group, and we'll see who does come out on top of it. To break that game down, though, we do have our desk ready to